Hi, it's Katie. Pinterest, that place where we all get fabulous ideas, but sometimes we do it ourselves and it just is not what we're expecting. From cake decorating to making homemade crayons, here are 12 Pinterest fails. Number 12, a Crochet Beauty. Crochet much? If you don't, then you can't expect to start from the top. One woman found a beautiful crocheted pair of birds in a jar on Pinterest. The two were well made and set on a wire and wooden swing. In their jar, there was lined with sand and topped with a unique fabric lid and bow. Unfortunately, there wasn't a tutorial, so the woman attempted to simply wing it. Turns out, gravity took over, but that doesn't explain the missing eye or disproportionate body. Even Sylvester wouldn't want anything to do with this sad little bird. He doesn't deserve a lovebird companion. Oh, yes, he does. He's adorable in his own way. Number 11, Minion. Ever since the first Despicable Me movie came out in 2010, people everywhere have been in love with the Minions. That's why they are such a popular character on Pinterest. But not every piece of Minion art can be spot on. For example, this Minion cake was found on Pinterest a while back. Pretty perfect, right? Well, this is a cake one young woman created from the instructions she found. The first problem with the attempt was the cake was made in a microwave mug, which in fact, I think I should try that. The icing was super thin and the fondant was burnt. She then tried to dye the burnt fondant to no avail. To be fair, they were college kids just having a good time, but yet, epic fail. Number 10, crayon art. Crayon art. Every kid and crafter's dream, unfortunately, is much easier said than done. The idea is to glue the crayon on the canvas, then carefully melt the tips as you tilt the canvas. The result is a beautiful work of art. Pretty simple, right? Not so much. The original artist took out the blacks and browns and the whites to give an extra colorful look. Then, they glued them to the canvas with hot glue in a perfect color-coded row. From there, they simply held up the canvas at an angle and used a hairdryer to melt the wax. The people who have attempted this have failed horribly by using rose art or other cheap crayons. Try to melt the art by putting it out in the sun and having used duct tape instead of hot glue. Yeah, none of those worked out so well. Neither did leaving the brown crayons in. Number 9, Hedgehog. It's your 4-year-old's birthday, and all they want is a hedgehog cake. No problem. You can even do that yourself, maybe. Or you can scare the entire party of children and cause your son to hate you for the rest of your life. The original was adorable. Flake bars for the spines, bed of grass to sit on, cute little button-like nose, and a wonderful texture, not to mention those spooky though intriguing red eyes. The whopper eyes and nose was bad, as was the smooth spine standing straight up on its back. But I think the worst part was the plastic hillbilly teeth used for the mouth. Nope, my bad. The worst part is definitely the naked mole rat features, as in the new hedgehog's pink skin staring at you. Nightmares, I tell you. Number 8, heart necklace. Sometimes Pinterest really works out, other times it does not. This is one of those times where the one who attempts the piece ends up in tears. The necklace is gorgeous, especially to those who are obsessed with gothic attire hearts and steampunk themes. Wire can be fun to work with and you can create beautiful jewelry, but it can also lead to disaster. This piece is made primarily of twirly wire wrapped around a heart-shaped stone with select beads to add an extra splash of color. Well, one user got her inspiration from this piece. Unfortunately for her, things didn't go so well. I'm not really sure what to call it, but if it was alive, it would be in pain and very jealous of the original creation. Number 7, surprise. Whether it's used as a prank or a fun birthday surprise, filling someone's room with balloons trapped in streamers, one mom saw the idea of Pinterest and decided to give it a go. She thought about doing one for her son and began doing so. But before she had time to blow up a few, she then realized her son didn't live in the bedroom anymore. He had moved to the basement. She didn't want to knock him down a flight of stairs, so she decided to do something else. That wasn't the case for another mom. She began the avalanche of her son's birthday when he woke up at 2 a.m., ruining the surprise. She blew up balloons for 30 minutes, but it was all in vain. Only a small handful made it to the streamers. Number 6, golden plate. Sometimes you just want a festive or expensive looking dish without paying the price. That's why this talented individual created a do-it-yourself project that costs less than $10. All you need is a plate, gold spray paint, and tape. First, you put a piece of tape on the plate evenly spaced. Then, you spray over the plate, let it dry, remove the tape, and you're done. You can even laminate it if you want to serve food on it. Not all of us could be handy with a can of spray paint. One crafter tried to recreate this plate. That poor platter so in love that it needed cover up. But it fought back by revealing itself once again. Number 5, ice cream cone plant. Potted plants are quite fascinating. They bring the perfect balance of nature and the modern world. These ice cream plants are pretty adorable too. They work just like a pot. You put in the soil, then the seeds, and water every day. Unfortunately, as cute as they don't last long. When you water it, the cone seems to dissolve. So it works best if you soon put it in another pot. The cone also molds, so yeah. But there's an alternative. Just eat the cone. It's way more likely too. If you don't, just set it out and the dog will do the rest. Okay, so I'm not really sure which one is the fail and which one is a success here. Go figure. Number 4, pumpkin baby. Taking photos of babies is never an easy task, but Pinterest sure does make it seem that way. Take a look at this adorable pumpkin baby, for example, in his cute little hat, feet laying peacefully looking at the camera and chewing sweetly on the pumpkin. He is perfection in a pumpkin. Sweeter than pumpkin pie. This is what you expect for your own child. However, not all babies are as cooperative. I had a grandmother who saw the well-posed photo on Pinterest. She decided to give it a go, but her granddaughter would have none of it. Even with her father holding her up, she despised the idea of being in a pumpkin. One day, she'll grow up and wish she would have cooperated so she could be as cute as the other kid. What the hey? She still is even a bit cuter. Number 3, misstep mold. Aw, nothing is sweeter than making a mold from your baby's footprint. Later you can hang it on the wall, set it on your desk, or give it to them for their own house. It shouldn't be too hard to get the footprint in the clay. After all, newborns hold fairly still. As long as you can get them not to curl their toes, but that's not always possible. If you don't believe me, take a look at this attempt by parents. It looks pretty good. Nice and symmetrical, smooth, looks like a foot. Although, if you study it, you'll notice something is amiss. That a baby has 4 toes? Yes. A pro tip is to make sure all the toes are included in the mold. Obviously. Unless, of course, you want the fun job of telling your child when they were little they only had 4 toes on their foot. Surgery to get one added. That's why their ears are so small, because that's where the extra flesh came from. Could be a fun lifelong prank for you and your spouse. Kids 0, parents 1. Nailed it. Number 2, just a simple braid. You know what's on Pinterest a lot? Hairstyles that look a lot easier than they are, especially those braided ones. This intricate style looks like it was done by a pro. That's because it was. Such symmetry, such class, such beauty, such height. However, not all of us are born hairstylists. When we try to recreate these styles, things may not go so well. As you can see here, one horrified woman thought she'd attempt it nevertheless, but sadly things fell flat, including her hair. Not only did it not look like the pin, but it also left tangles in her hair that were nearly impossible to get out. Lucky for her, short hair is in. Number 1, crayon molds of death. Do you have a bunch of broken crayons that are just looking for a use? Well, a simple mold makes a great decoration or a way to reuse the crayons. This might just be the worst, making it the best Pinterest fail I've ever heard. However, one mother had a life-threatening experience after seeing one of these molds on Pinterest. All she had to do was take the paper off the crayons, drop them in the flower-shaped molds, and put them in the oven at 220 degrees. She took the paper off, put them in the molds, and put the mold in the oven. She set the timer for 5 minutes, but the fire alarm went off after only 3. She hurried to the kitchen to find it. It was filled with thick smoke. After beginning to air it out, she noticed that the oven was on fire. She swiftly wet a towel and put it in the oven, but it didn't work. So, what did she do? The same with the blanket, and it finally did the trick. But not until the woman had gone through a traumatic experience that led her and her son to the neighbor's doorstep, crying nonetheless. One key point here is that she was not American. She assumed the temperature was meant to be centigrade, but it was indeed Fahrenheit. Might want to take that into consideration next time you find a recipe online. Have you tried any of these Pinterest ideas? How'd it go? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, be sure to subscribe and see you next time on Peachy Planet.